Hey everybody, I'm Jane.
And I'm Sarah.
And you're listening to the Medium Curious Podcast, the show that's inviting all of the mediums to come out of that closet and shine their shiny, shiny light.
Oh, yay. I like that.
Thanks.
And today we have on Emelie Collet. She's a certified crystal therapy practitioner, which is what she's here to talk to us about today, and also a certified energy healer, a Reiki master, and an all-around phenomenal woman.
Shiny. Talk about shiny.
Yeah,
Woo!
Indeed.
It's a little blinding, but we're so excited for y'all to hear our conversation. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. Bling. Well, Emelie, we're just beyond excited to have you here. I have to tell you that in one of the recent episodes at the very end, I go, oh, Sarah, a really amazing guest is coming. And that was you.
It's true.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you two.
You're going to give us all of your crystal magic wisdom.
As much as you can handle.
Ooh, all right. Sounds like a quest.
Sometimes when I talk about crystals, I can go on and on. So that's why I say that. You can flag me.
always been drawn to crystals? I mean, I know I have. I would give you a crystal tour right now.
I
it's
so want
kind of
to,
ridiculous.
and we're not going to, but
we won't.
You can show your favorite. Pick your favorite of the moment.
I can't. I just can't.
So many.
Crystal problem. I always loved crystals. I feel like a lot of people have early memories of collecting nature, little bits of nature. And if you have kids, like my kids are always collecting rocks and things. So I think we're naturally drawn to energetic pieces of nature when we're children, and I just have those early memories of going into a crystal shop and realizing that like someone tumbled all these, and you could have you ever been to a crystal shop where they have like a big thing and you're allowed to take a little bag and fill it for a certain amount of money? I mean, it was like heaven on earth, that first time I saw that. So I've always loved crystals.
And you're also married to a geologist, right?
Yes. I mean, no big surprise. We were drawn to each other because, yes, he's a geologist. So he's a rock scientist, an environmental scientist. And yeah, so we definitely share a passion for all things from the earth, really.
I just have so many puns that want to bubble out of me about how you rock it out and how your love is set in stone. I'm just going to stop. I'll stop. But
well, my kids made my husband a sweatshirt. They embroidered I don't know if you've ever seen a rock pick, but it's the kind of tool you use to get crystals and rocks out of the earth. So they embroidered a rock pick with like all these crystals behind it on his sweatshirt. And on the back, they embroidered "This Dad Rocks." So, we were out today and someone said, "Did your kids make that for you?" And he's like, "Well, I'm a geologist." They were like, "My kids need to step it up. I mean, that is really cute." So, yeah.
I just want to quick shout out to your sister, which is how we found you through your sister's amazing podcast. You Are Not Alone with Erica Gabriel. And you've been on there 4 times. I think it's a debate on the podcast. Yes. But the two of you are just so charming. And I've always just been, I think what I really love about you is how you, I guess it's your love for crystals and stones and rocks and whatever we want to call them. That's all the same thing. And how you broadcast it. Like when I listen to you talk, it actually sinks in. I feel it in my body. It makes sense. So we really want to I just wanted to share you with our listeners. So again, so happy you're here.
That is so sweet. And thank you for listening to my sister's podcast, because I think she is miraculous and wonderful. So she's really terrific. Yes,
she is 100%. I've probably heard every episode multiple times.
Well, I think it can be mentioned that she's a medium.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's relevant.
We're mediums.
Right. It's relevant information.
Yes. And I just wanted to ask you about your spiritual component as it applies to crystals. Do they translate for you?
I mean, for me, it does, because I believe that we come into this life with some kind of karmic debt, karmic load. And part of our journey here is to figure out what that is and to clear it and to move forward more clear than we arrived, if that makes sense. I believe in reincarnation. So I believe that, but even if you don't believe in reincarnation, you know the energy is going somewhere. And is it going somewhere the same way it arrived, or is it going in a better state? And so for me, crystals are part of that work, because we can use crystals to tune our energy and to help us identify and work with our energy and adjust it. And the greatest resource we have is our very own energy. That's it. What else do you have? You know, I mean, when all is said and done, what else do you have but the energy that is you? So the more you can become aware of that and work with it and adjust it, I think you're living out your divine purpose. So that's where it aligns for me. It's like, this is special work to become responsible for your energy, to work at it, to become aware of it, to use tools to adjust it. You know, you can't just walk around with all this bad energy and then, you know, you have to take responsibility.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Expect it to be okay for everyone you come in contact with to be like Pigpen with your energy.
Yes. Perfect image. Exactly. Perfect image. In case anybody doesn't remember Pigpen from Charlie Brown, he was that kid that walked around with like a cloud of debris around him. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do crystals do that? I know that a lot of people, when they think about crystals and people using crystals, they're like, I know for the longest time I was like, well, I think they're beautiful. I think they're pretty, but they don't hold secret powers, but they help you attune your own energy. Is that right?
That's right. So every single thing that exists on this earth has energy. Even an inanimate object like this pen has energy that's being used to hold these molecules together. If it didn't have some kind of energy that was vibrating in it, it would just be a cloud of molecules. So there's energy in every single thing. And that energy vibrates, and that vibration emits a light, which we can't see, but that light carries information. Our eyes can't see it. I mean, I think some people can see auras and stuff. I can't, but some people can see different kinds of light. And if you've ever seen like a video of what a dog sees, you know, they see really different light than we see. And so there are different things being emitted that we know we can't see. So crystals, I'm holding one of my favorites. Crystals emit energy, and each crystal has a different vibrational pattern. And we can use that vibrational pattern to bring our energy into resonance with it, because things like to resonate together.
Is it like entrainment? Like one kind of talks the other one in?
Yes. And it's like if you're out to drinks, or if you don't drink, if you're out in a group of friends, sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm really revealing myself here. If it's a Friday night and you're going drinking with friends, oh, maybe that's just me. No. If you're out to drinks with friends and someone's in a really bad mood because something horrible happened to them and they're crying, and then the next person says, oh my gosh, like, I think I'm going to leave my husband. You're not sitting at the table like, woohoo! You know what I mean? That's just not what happens. You're sitting at the table like, wow, this is the worst day. This is horrible. I feel for you. I'm with you. You are resonating with their energy. And you wouldn't turn on like the music you wrote sadly in your journal to when you were in high school when you're setting up your house for a party. You turn on party music, Lord, you know what I mean? Because we know that our mood is going to match it. So crystals are the same way. So we can't hear their music with our ears, but we feel their music with our energetic body.
Oh my God, you just won Sarah over forever by calling it music.
Are you a musician?
I am.
What do you play?
I play the oboe.
You do?
I do.
I love the oboe. My children are musicians, and I tried to convince each one to play clarinet, and it wasn't until the fourth one that the other kids all said, "You have to play clarinet for mom." So I do have a clarinetist.
Oh.
I have a trombone player.
I do
have a
too. I've got a
percussionist.
trombone player.
Too? Oh my gosh,
yes.
That's so great. So that's the thing with using crystals. So they are different. It's just like music is different. They're not all the same. And taking time and space to pay attention to how they make you feel is part of the tool. It's part of the work. So
it's kind of like a prescription.
Yeah. And it's part of the joy of it. It's like, oh my gosh, what if I really could take this little beautiful thing and like sit here for 5 minutes? And what if I would feel a little different? Isn't that like such a beautiful little exchange that we can do? Yeah, it's really awesome. So if you're trying to figure out how to clear a crystal, should we take a minute and talk about clearing crystals?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, so crystals have different hardnesses, and it's called the Mohs hardness scale, MOHS, and you can look it up on the internet. I do it all the time. I have not memorized hardnesses at all because every crystal has a different hardness. So below a certain hardness, you don't want to put it in water because it's porous. So like, I don't know if you've ever had like a pearl earring or something like, or turquoise. Those are common things people know you can't use harsh soaps on. And it's because they're very porous and they will absorb the color of the soap, and it will slowly break down their structure and destroy the pearl or the turquoise. So different crystals have different hardnesses. So before you put a crystal in water, you want to check for its hardness and whether or not it has any water-soluble minerals in it. Some crystals have iron in them. So if you put them in water, do you know what happens when iron touches water?
It goes rusty,
It turns green or it rusts, So you can have crystals that are water-soluble change color or break down in water. So you want to check that first.
So that's the Mohs
hardness scale. And so anything that is a quartz is like a 7 or above, and those are all fine to put in water. So some examples of quartz, we have clear quartz, amethyst, citrine. There are a lot of things that are different varieties that have the same crystalline structure of quartz. Those are safe to put in water. So if you can't put your crystal in water, then you can use a singing bowl or sound. You can ring a bell near it. And if you think about energy and vibrations, you can imagine why like really vibrating it gets it all to align back the way it was. Yeah. So like I think about like shaking the silk down to the bottom or something, it's like everything gets back into its alignment. So I love singing bowls, and I'm also a sound therapy practitioner. So I really think noise is really important. And we can also use sound to tune our own energetic bodies, because again, that idea of resonance. And you can also use smoke. So you can use sage smoke to clear it. Yes. My favorite way is to put crystals that are okay to be in water outside in a stream, if there's someplace you can go, because I mean, it feels right. It just feels right. My second favorite is in a thunderstorm, rain and the thunder. I mean, it's like the best. But singing bowls are also really, really great. So certain things you want to clear frequently, others you don't need to clear as much. And
so what are some of the ones that you want to clear frequently?
So you want to clear things. My loose rule, and I talk sometimes in broad sweeping ways about crystals. Obviously, this doesn't apply for everything, but my loose rule is lighter crystals you want to clear more often, and darker crystals are more able to absorb and transmute more energy before they need to be cleared. That is my kind of loose rule. So cool. The only exception to that is clear quartz, because clear quartz you can program, and when you clear it, you wipe the program. So you only are going to clear your clear quartz when you want to reprogram it.
Oh my gosh, can you start at the top with that? So that was like one of my top questions.
See, I was saying, I will talk about crystals until you are like, okay, enough.
We've got all the questions. We got them all.
Okay, so clear quartz, and I talk about this a lot. I have a blog post about it. So if you are like listening to our conversation driving, don't try to take notes. You know, this information is available to access. So clear quartz is a crystal that we use it in all our electronics. If you think about watches, like the most famous best watches have a quartz crystal in them. That is because when energy goes into clear quartz, it magnifies it and sends it out exactly as it went in, forever. It doesn't transmute the energy. The crystal does not degrade. It just amplifies that energy. That's what it does. And it does it perfectly.
Wow.
So
is that what they use for ultrasounds? Do you know?
I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised, because quartz is in a lot of our electronics, because we obviously are using energy in all these electronics, and we need something to be carrying and projecting that energy.
So you're also right now talking about the science behind crystals as you're talking about this, which I'm sure hopefully you can share some of your favorite science with us too.
Okay.
But wait, I want to hang out in the woo first. Hold on. I mean, and that's the crazy fact, right? It's not actually woo. It's real. And so
it's not at all. It's not, it's actually just a fact of how crystals work.
It's just weird that I've never heard this before in my life. Well, I don't know. And I'm really old. So I think
I don't want to be like a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, part of my feminism is that wisdom that doesn't align with capitalism has been suppressed for centuries. So, I mean, that's a whole other topic.
That's another, we'll bring you back, Emelie.
That's another whole topic about witches and the history of female wisdom and the earth and the goddess and the, all of that. So to me, a lot of this is just been suppressed for centuries. And so we've lost access to what was intuitive knowledge about how the universe works. And a lot of that was intuitive female knowledge that really got suppressed. Having said that, okay, so if you have a clear quartz crystal and you want to work with it, first you will clear it. So like we talked about, you can put it under running water, you can put it in a singing bowl, you can ring a bell next to it. Then you are going to take it and set your intention for what you are going to put into it, the energy you want it to give you back. So you will sit with it. You will get clear. I always write it down the way my brain works. Intention setting and having something written down, it really helps clarify it for me. So when I'm clearing a quartz crystal, I will write down exactly what my intention is for that energy. And I will clear it and I will sit with it and I will repeat those words. And then that's it. You programmed it. And if you wanted to
just changed my life.
No, really. How so? What are you going to program?
Oh, all of them. Well, okay. Just sidebar.
Everything.
I mean, this is like, seriously, like the mind blown emoticon. Because I have yes, I have the joy of acquisition, but what I do with most of my crystals is I create altars. Mm-hmm. I mean, they sit on, and I have an altar for the book, and I have an altar for the podcast with little things that look like microphones, and I have an altar for my family, and I have an altar for my boy who's going through something. So, and the crystals are holding the directions, and they are being programmed by sitting in an intentional altar. But I didn't necessarily say to you like, hey buddy, this is what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just love this like relationship that you're showing us and how juicy it is to just be in communion with these crystalline structures. Like, this is so gorgeous.
It's so lovely. And if you're setting up altars or grids, I do definitely recommend taking like a Post-it note and writing your intention and sticking it underneath for sure.
Yeah, it's there.
I used to sort of, so you're on it. I used to sort of feel like grids were, I didn't really connect with it. And then in my course, we had to build grids and then make observations and build grids for others. And it just, I couldn't believe how powerful it could be to bring a group of crystals together with a clear intention, set up in a way where you basically created like a little choir of energy resonating on this topic. It's so cool.
So can you explain to anybody who doesn't know what a grid is?
Including
sure.
So I love the choir.
A crystal grid together. Is basically you gather a bunch of crystals for a specific purpose. So for me, the best image a lot is sound, because we understand sound waves and we can hear sound waves. So it's easier to think about than thinking about crystal energy in a way. So you're gathering a little group together and you're asking them to come together in a different energy. Like if I sing, well, I shouldn't even say if I sing, I'm a horrible singer, but one beautiful voice sounds like one kind of thing. 100 beautiful voices is like, whoa, you get the chills. It's so powerful. And it's just this amazing, almost, there's a reason why they build these huge cathedrals and then have choirs sing in them. It really feels like a religious experience. It's like, whoo. Okay. So you get your little crystals together and you decide how you want to arrange them, and you can use your intuition to do this. I like to put a tower or a point in the center of all my grids because it makes sense to me intuitively that they gather together and they go up that tower or that point in the center. And you put your intention underneath the grid. If you are lucky enough to have anything made of copper, this is like my little copper pyramid. Pyramids are really powerful amplifiers of both grounding and energy going up and down from above inspiration and down into the earth. So if you're lucky enough to have copper, include it in your grid and then set it up. And every day that the grid is set up, go to it. I sage my grids every day that they're set up. I revisit that intention and then I clean it. I clean everything and I put everybody away. So it's like I really try to make it like a special time where I've asked them to come together and resonate.
How long would you say you normally leave a grid up?
I usually do 7 days.
Oh, good. I'm glad I asked
that. That's me. But, you could leave it up forever and ever. But it's like, I think of it like, if there's a song I love, I'm a person who can listen to it on repeat for like every day while I'm cooking dinner. But maybe like on the 20th day, I'm kind of like, ugh, can you turn that off? There's a point at which you've gotten the joy out of it. It did the thing it was supposed to do for you. Now let's clear the air and reset,
Okay. Like I said, I think mind blown. I wanted to share something with you and the listeners too, that when Sarah and I decided to do this podcast, we went to the aforementioned stone room and we purchased a bracelet of adventuring. And so I wanted to toss that back to you to tell us how great a move that was.
Was it green aventurine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Green aventurine is just so great for figuring out the next step on your journey and getting clear about that. So you girls crushed it. You crushed it.
That picture of us on our website is us holding up our crystal bracelets together.
I got mine on right now.
That's so nice. I do want to say that because I sell, sometimes I have stretch bracelets on my website. I love crystal bracelets. I want to just say to both of you, when it breaks, it's not a sign.
Okay, thank you.
That's good to know.
It's just elastic and it's dying.
It's just elastic. Elastic doesn't last forever. It's just elastic.
That kind of brings me to my other question that I have, that I was just thinking about, because I know sometimes myself, I can get a little superstitious about things. And I think crystals is something I could easily get superstitious about, like, oh, dang it, I didn't wear my bracelet today, or oh no, I didn't have this crystal over here in the right place. Can you say anything about that? About how not to be superstitious?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how like chill do you want me to be in my response? Because what I want to be is like, oh no, don't. But I could be more, diplomatic. I mean, I think it's important to stay grounded in our mentality when we're approaching anything that is outside of what we've been taught in a structured way. So if I go to read fiction that I was taught in high school, I am not superstitious if I leave the book in a coffee shop. I'm not like, oh my God, I left that book. It means I was never supposed to read fiction and I'm going in the wrong direction in my life. And you know what I mean? Yeah. So things that we've learned in a structured way, we tend not to be superstitious about. Areas where we're charting our own course and we're relying on our intuition, we can get a little touchy about. And I strongly recommend not doing that because we're basically taking on an oppressive mentality toward the things that we're drawn to. And we're putting them in a basket with other beliefs that we don't really hold in the same way. So do you know what I mean? So we're using this mentality that we're taught about these things to minimize them by treating them like superstitions. So to me, crystal work, it doesn't go in the same basket as like superstitions. I'm not a superstitious person. I've never been. When I was a child, there was someone taking the ivy off our house, because it can like degrade your house. And he had a ladder there. And I think I was 7 or 8. And he said, don't walk under the ladder. And I was like, why? Of course, he should have said, because I might drop a tool on your head, but he didn't. He said, well, because it's 7 years bad luck. And I was like, how many times would I have to walk back and forth underneath the ladder to cover my whole life? I was little. I couldn't do multiplication. He told me whatever, like 8 times or something. And so I went back and forth 8 times. And I'm like, now I don't have to worry about bad luck ever again. I already did it my whole life. Oh my God. So I'm not a superstitious person.
What a testament to you that was your like, I'll show you, babe.
I'm like, you know what? Okay, now I have bad luck forever. So whatever it is, I did
whatever happens,
the auspices of bad luck.
I did it. We're good.
So that's my advice to you is by making it super superstitious-y and like, oh my God, does that mean this? Does that mean that? We're sort of minimizing the very thing that we're exploring. And we're not putting it in the same category of things that we think are real. And that's a subconscious thing. That's air quotes, things that we think are quote unquote real.
Quote unquote real.
And that is us subconsciously living out an oppressive mentality toward the things that our intuition tells us are important. And I think, So for me as a feminist, no, I take none of that on board. If my intuition tells me this is important, real, worthy of my attention, worthy of my study, then it's real. And I'm not getting all caught up in any other baloney about it. And anyone who can't hear that, that's your loss.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. My intuition is really good. And if it's calling me toward crystals and you don't know how to hear it, I don't know what to tell you,
Yeah.
So that's my response to that. That's my deep, true response. It's like,
good. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's so when your bracelet breaks, it was the elastic.
That's right.
It's not the universe being like, your partnership is now coming to an end. It's like, no, you know your friend, you know your life. No, no. I saw this really funny thing on the internet, and it was like this person describing that they bought this crystal ball from someone, and then the woman who sold it to him said, make sure that you never leave it uncovered when you leave the house. And he's like, oh my God, why? Are spirits going to come through it and blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, if sunlight hits it, it will magnify the light and it could start a fire. No, it's not because ghosts are going to come through your crystal ball. It's because it's going to magnify the light, dummy.
It's going to kill the ants like you did when you were a little kid.
Exactly. Wait, did you kill ants?
No, not me. Maybe a few, just 2. I don't know.
My boys did set fires with magnifying glass.
Set fires, yeah, but not kill ants. Was that a thing?
Yeah.
People kill ants?
Let's just blame it on Texas.
Shall we? I actually had a really weird experience with an ant because I used to kill ants in my kitchen. Like, I didn't really feel like it was, I mean, I don't eat mammals. I'm an animal lover. But ants kind of were below my radar of concern. And I would be like, oh, squish an ant. And I'm a Quaker. So I was in Quaker meeting, and in Quaker worship, you sit in silence, expectant silence. You're waiting for basically a message from the universe, from God, whatever. So I'm sitting in meeting, and sometimes crazy things happen in meeting. Everyone's sitting together, all expectant listening is what we call it. And I see this ant crawling across the floor, and I swear I felt and saw like the light of the divine creation in this little ant and his journey. And I just I started crying. I was like, I thought of all the ants I squished without a thought. I saw the beauty of creation in his little arms, his little antenna, his little busyness, And I just felt so moved. So now I can't kill ants. But
oh my gosh, we had that same experience in our house. Our guest was here. A guest was here, and she was like, "Oh no," because it's like that. I'm in Hawaii. It is like an ant party on every surface, and we're out constantly trying to sort without little ant massacres. And sorry,
no, it's tough.
She saw. It's terrible. Like we have to. I think maybe I just need to chat to them. But she saw one ant carrying another ant away.
The dead body.
And we were like, oh, okay, we're screwed. We can't kill these guys anymore. Like, that is so beautiful. Like, it took it off to its little burial. I was like, okay. So if I'm in alignment, I cannot eat meat either.
Yeah.
But I'm not always there. So that's really cool. I love that you shared that. Yeah. I think we're covering all the animals, mineral.
Yes,
plants.
We should talk about vegetables. Yes, let's talk about
I think vegetables are next.
And we know plants are sentient. We've talked about that.
We've talked about that here.
For sure.
We talk to all the plants all the time. Okay.
Back to crystals.
Back to crystals. I wanted to ask, since we are mediums like your sis, what is your prescription for the medium folk? Like, are there certain crystals that, talk to us about what you would say to a medium.
So I love angelite for doing work with your guides. And I've talked with my sister about that a lot. I think angelite can really become like a touchstone for working with your guides. It helps you, again, if we go back to how I've been talking about crystals, it helps you activate that resonance inside yourself, which is what you're feeling when you're connecting with your guides. Obviously, you try it and see if it's right for you. But that's the feedback I get. I'm not a medium, but that angelite really does, tune with that energy. And clear quartz, I'm so glad we just had that whole conversation about it, because you can use clear quartz, clear it, sit with your angelite, get into that space of intuition, of third eye and crown chakra, where you're connecting with your guides, and tune that clear quartz so you can amplify that angelite. Because the clear quartz will amplify the energy of whatever it's with. And then you were talking about, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Well, I think I just wanted to put an underline under that, because I heard you say that on another podcast. Everyone should stalk Emelie in every place because you're extraordinary. But that amplification that you put a crystal, a quartz with others like that, I think, it's a little bit about the grid, but can you just kind of
So clear quartz, as we talked about before, when it's used in technology, energy is shot into it and then it amplifies that energy. So it functions that way. So like I wouldn't wear clear quartz, let's say, like on my left wrist when I'm going into a high intensity, energetic, challenging situation. Like the holidays are coming up. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but for some people going to a family holiday dinner, there can be a lot of intense energy that sometimes people feel. I would not wear clear quartz on my receiving side to something like that. I would wear like something black on my left side so it would absorb energy. So I had a better chance to, not overreact to it. So clear quartz amplifies the energy of other crystals and other things that it's around. So you can use it that way. You can program it to work with another crystal, or you can just put another crystal with it. And it just amplifies that energy.
But sorry, I know you were on a roll and then I took you off the roll and we'll put you back on. The left and the right, can you talk more about that?
So energy cycles into us from the left side and then out of us from the right side. So it's not something I worry about too much when I'm choosing where and how to wear things, unless I'm feeling really sensitive.
Okay.
It's sort of like if you go to work out and you wear your same old sneakers, they're maybe not the best, but it doesn't really bother you. But then let's say you're like premenstrual and your back is sore, then you're like, no, I got to actually find the good sneakers because this could actually throw me off today. So for me, generally I'm okay. But if I'm feeling really sensitive, then I think about that. And I think, what am I trying to filter out? And what am I trying to send out? So if I'm trying to filter something, I think about what I'm going to wear on my left side, because that's where the energy is coming in. And if I'm trying to think about what I want to send out, then I wear that on my right side.
I'm just mentally looking at my arms. I always just intuitively like dump. And because we're recording, I don't have all my bracelets on because I talk with my hands. Yeah, I'm like this. But so I like usually have tourmaline or some sort of Dalmatian jasper over here. And then all like the pretty shit, which is the technical term.
On the right side.
Like I have one that's kind of a rainbow. Like it's like all the crystals in sort of like a chakra rainbow situation. So I'm like just shooting rainbows, maybe? I don't know.
That's right. Shooting rainbows.
Okay.
But a fun exercise for you could be, if you're like looking for a journal exercise, would be to intuitively put on your bracelets and like take a picture of both sides and then note what you wore, how you felt, just like engage in it a little bit more deeply and see what it reveals to you. Yes. I actually have a little printer, like, so that I can take pictures and like print color photos of crystals and stick it in my journal and like write about them, so it's like,
so smart.
Yeah, it's fun.
How cool.
Love that.
I love journaling.
Okay, sorry. So. And I love stickers. Winning. So back to, oh my God, I've seen that sticker machine that you have. I want to get it right now.
I love it. Another thing I love for intuitive work is chevron amethyst. So I usually have a piece of it. Do I have one here? So if anybody's watching this, they can see. So here's an example of chevron amethyst.
Yeah.
Chevron amethyst is amethyst, and it has like, if everybody knows what a chevron shape, it's like kind of like a point or like a V. It has a chevron of clear quartz in it. So as we've discussed at length, clear quartz is an amplifier and you can program it. Amethyst. So I did like 6 weeks or a month with amethyst a couple of years ago for my blog. And I was just amazed at how amethyst, my experience with it was like all these little damaged areas in my energetic body. I just felt like the amethyst just eased the scar tissue, healed it, things I didn't even realize were there. And like, the whole month I was wearing it, I just kept having these like little puffy hearts, like rising, that's what the visual was for me. Like places that had damage that I didn't even know were impacting me anymore, like scar tissue. It was like turning them into little puffy hearts that just floated away. So I love amethyst and I love what it does for the energetic body. And when you work with it with clear quartz embedded into it, it's amplified. And clear quartz is a master healer and it brings good energy flow through the entire energetic body. So, that's another one that I really love for people who do intuitive work.
Beautiful.
I love it. I could go on and on. So another thing is black tourmaline, because when you do intuitive work, so you're bringing a lot of energy up into the top of your chakra system. You're using your third eye, you're using your crown chakra, because, of course, you're also using your heart. You're using all of it, but you're really bringing intention and energy upward. So black tourmaline can help you reground and rebalance, because sometimes I've seen people who do intuitive work have like aura photos taken.
And
it's like, whoa, at the top of their chakras. And then you see like these little dots of light in their lower chakras. Right. And that's actually, for me, the ideal energetic body has a balance to it. So using something like black tourmaline to bring yourself back down, to close yourself out when you've worked with a client or when you've done intuitive work, bring yourself back down and rebalance that energy.
I heard that episode with your sister where you gave kind of an RX prescription for the holidays and you mentioned tourmaline.
Yes.
And I was like flying through the Bay Area last year after that broadcast. And my friend was so sweet. She went to the stone room. I was like, I need tourmaline.
Send it to me.
And she went to the stone room and brought it. And Sarah, it's funny. It was that dinner I was with you. And she brought me this massive hunk of tourmaline that I've been like carrying around with me ever since. So I have to thank you, because isn't it fun that you don't even know the people that are hearing you and are acting on your beautiful, broadcast of like your intelligence, your emotional joy for these stones, and how probably, what fate I didn't have to have because of the tourmaline.
That's so nice.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's never worked with crystals before, who is interested in just stepping their toe into the water?
So my first thing is remove any worries or fears that you're going to do anything wrong, or that you have to justify this interest in any way to anyone at any time.
Girl.
If they're just pretty to you and you like having them around, that's enough. So you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to know everything about crystals. This is my passion. I love it. And that's why I know all this, because I study it out of joy, not because I think in order to use crystals, you have to have done all this studying. So bring that with you. Just go and do whatever you want, and you don't have to justify yourself to anyone. So that's the first thing. Second is allow yourself to pick what you think is pretty. That's okay. Sometimes what we're drawn to, my husband's really handsome, and that worked out. I was drawn to him because he was cute, and that worked out. Like I was teasing him the other day. I was like, God, you have no game. How did you get me in the beginning? We're like joking. We've been married 25 years, and I'm like, oh, I know, like you're a peacock. You were like, the gorgeous peacock with the feathers. You were like carrying heavy things. We were teenagers. He was like an athlete. Yeah. He was like handsome and so fit. I'm like, you didn't even have to have any game. You just strut about. And I I will take, So
hired.
Yeah, you're in. That's I want those jeans. I'm like, wait, what's your math SAT score? Because I'm really bad at math. Okay, you're in. So. All that is to say that sometimes that which is attractive to us is attractive to us for a reason. So it's okay to go into a crystal shop and just pick something that you like. Or even some people may have crystals lying around that they feel like, God, I bought that and I never did anything with it. So just go dust it off. Hold on to it. Put it in your pocket. See how it feels. Some beginner crystals that I really love to have people work with, especially women, is rose quartz. Because it is such a gentle, delightful companion. It's like, I say rose quartz is like the friend who always like compliments you. Not like the friend who's like, girl, you need to hear the truth today. You have to stop doing that, and you always do that, and it's never going to work. We all need those friends.
Yeah.
Those are very important friends. Rose quartz is not that friend. Rose quartz is the friend like, oh my God, I love your hair. Oh, I've always been so jealous of how your hair is so pretty and your lips are so shiny. You look so pretty today. Nothing makes me happier than being with you. That's rose quartz, like you're just like, oh my God, thank you,
Yeah.
So I love rose quartz as a great starter crystal, especially for women, because I think that internal voice for women is so many women struggle with an internal voice that is not complimenting them all day long.
Yeah.
And is not building them up all day long, and is saying, did you have that wrinkle yesterday? oh my God, didn't you work out today? Oh my, I think a lot of women have that kind of voice. So rose quartz is a great starter one too. Yeah.
That's interesting because Jane, I don't know if you were in that class that we were in the other day where we are in this professional mediumship mentorship and we're looking at colors and people's energetic systems, and rose quartz. Like if you see that, it's like the need for self-compassion and self-love, and you're doing so much for everybody else around you, and you need to reflect that back on yourself.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense with what you're saying about rose quartz.
And I always align it with like the Divine Mother, like the mem from Mary that we interviewed. It's like the divine lady.
It's like the divine compassion. I mean, she exists in I didn't hear your conversation the other day, but she exists across cultures. There's the Kuan Yin, there's Mary, the mother of Jesus. There's in so many cultures, there is this divine compassion, maternal. And I think rose quartz is wonderful for tapping into that. Although I also do want to say that, I mean, the divine maternal can be very fiery,
Word. Yeah.
You're right. I mean, we know what mother love is like. It's not always so I wouldn't step aside for anybody if my kids needed me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it's not so soft when
no, it's not.
There's
so
also
soft.
The bear.
It's powerful,
Yeah.
The energetic vibration of our heart is that vibrational bubble is 65 times larger than the vibration of our brain.
Yeah.
So it's like, just talking about being responsible for the energy that you're pushing out and forcing others around you to interact with, it's like,
right.
We really do have a responsibility for doing this work, learning about our energy, adjusting our energy, evolving.
Well, I mean, I grew up and I don't think I ever heard anybody talk about energy. So I think it's important for everybody to normalize it and talk about it as much as we can so that everybody knows their own energy and how they can be aware of what impacts it and their impact on others.
Yes. Well said.
Yeah. And that is probably a good place to end. I could talk to you for another hour and a half.
I know I have like 75 more things I want to talk to you guys about.
Well, genuinely, we want to have you back. I know our listeners are going to be like, more, please.
For the most part, crystals are really accessible. They're really fun. They're beautiful. And who doesn't want to have that in their lives?
And the more I can get people to feel, women especially, to feel like all of this is accessible to you. This is your birthright on this earth to follow your intuition. In no way do you ever have to explain or justify your interests to anyone. You do not have to have a certification. You do not have to justify yourself. Your interest in something is validation enough to follow that. And that's true with energy work. That's true with crystals. That's true with journaling. That's true with meditation. Anything you've heard about that you think, well, I don't know enough about it. Your interest is enough about it. You are enough, because these are all things that are your birthright and they are yours. So the more people who can hear me say that and take it on board, I just feel like, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that for your listeners. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Emelie.
So honored. Thank you. Thank you. Just big dating game kiss to all the crystals that are you.
I picked both bachelorettes.
All right, dear ones.
I wish we could go to dinner right now and continue our dialogue. It was so great talking. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Medium Curious is made possible
by Jane Morgan Editing.
Sarah Rathke made the amazing music. Mixed by Podcast Engineers.
And you can help Medium Curious by downloading the episodes
and following our socials. And the dogs under the desk in Hawaii are Kalea and Domino.
And Trixie in California.